class. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you how to create masking animation in After Effect. Okay, so before we start, this is the example. Okay, so that you can get an idea. Okay, what is the final output once we are done with this masking techniques. Right, so can you see the example? So first I have this words Humpty Dumpty Production Presents, and if you notice that this text is starts to fade out, okay, when it reach end of this timeline, right? And then after that, when this text disappear, and then where I have start with the masking text on the top. Okay, so let's do this together. Okay, so first of all, you need to drag this video, okay, which I have provided in the link. You can get this folder and download on your own. So click and drag to this After Effect. Okay, and then after you drag, you have to click and create a new composition by dragging the video to this icon. Okay, but before that, actually I have also prepared these step-by-step techniques. Okay, so whenever you work on this technique, you can cross-reference with this technique so that you won't miss any steps. Okay, so the first steps that we have just done is to create a composition where I have dragged the video to a composition icon. Okay, and then the next step is to duplicate the composition. So how to duplicate the composition? You have to press the command and D to duplicate. Right, so now get back to the After Effect. Make sure that this layer is selected. So you need to press command D on your keyboard, or you can also go to the edit, and here you can find a duplicate. Okay, so once you have duplicate, the next step is to create masking using pen tool. So how to create the masking using pen tool? You have to select the first layer. Okay, so make sure that first layer is selected, and then the second step is select pen tool and create the masking area and make sure it is closed. So what means by this one is, okay, first you need to go and select your pen tool. Okay, so since that before we start with this masking, you have to analyze where are the timeline that you're gonna put the masking text. Okay, so when I analyze this video, I found out that, okay, when I move my header, okay, I can see that in this timeline, okay, in this time frame, you start to see this hand. Okay, and then this hand is try to place back the small glass. Okay, when you move again the header, and from here, okay, you can see that this hand is try to get the eggs and put this egg into the glass. So this is where I plan to have masking text. Okay, so I hope that you get the idea. So back to this timeline, just to show it to you again. Here is where the timeline, okay, this is the first keyframe, and when I move this timeline forward, I can see that these are the area where I can have the masking text. Okay, right. So back to this steps number 3. Okay, create masking using pen tool. So we have select the layer, and the next one is to select the pen tool and create the masking area and make sure it is closed. So back to the analysis from this timeline. Okay, you have to move the header to the first point where you want to start the masking text. Right, so I want to start the masking text from here. Okay, so place your header on the appropriate timeline. Okay, and then go to the pen tool. So in this step, what you need to do is to create a masking area which cover the hand and the egg. Okay, so I will start from here. Just select anywhere. Okay, and then try to use the pen tool to cover some parts of this finger. Okay, along this finger. Okay, you don't have to be precise, just make sure this pen tool covering only the parts that it will where your masking text will be positioned. Okay, so remember that the step is you must create a pen tool, a masking area, and you have to make sure that the area is closed. Okay, so these are the steps for number 3. Right, and then step number 4 is animate the mask. So how to animate the mask? You have to expand the first layer and select mask 1. So this is your first layer. You have to expand, and then you can see mask, expand again, and you can see mask 1, expand one more. So from here you have to add keyframe on mask path. Okay, so what means by add keyframe on mask path is when you click on this icon, it will automatically add one keyframe on your timeline. Right, and then the next one is to continue animate by moving the timeline header and move the path to follow the move the mask to follow the path. So what means by this step is you have to move this timeline. Okay, so when you are moving this timeline, you can see that this this masking area is not in the correct position. Okay, so you have to select on the selection tool, right, and start to position this masking so that it cover the hand and the egg. Okay, so you have to do this, okay, carefully. Right, try to bring the mask so that it will cover the hand. Okay, do this one more. Right, I think this is enough. Okay, just one more. Right, so that's it. What you need to do in step number 4, animate the mask. Okay, so maybe you can just try to play back this timeline to check if everything is doing appropriately. Okay, so everything looks fine. Right, now let's move to the step number 5. Okay, create and position the text. So this is where you start to add the text. Okay, add text and place somewhere between the moving objects. So what means by this step is since that when we analyze this video, Okay, from this keyframe, this is the first keyframe and it's ended on this keyframe. And you can see that here you have an empty area where you can have the masking text. Okay, so what you need to do here is add text and place somewhere between the object. So I want this text to start, okay, right when this egg is moved in this area, okay, from here, somewhere around here, right? So now go to the text tool, okay, and then here where you have this text, okay, just click anywhere and then type a pinky eggy. Okay, position the text correctly. Okay, and then the next step is, once you have done adding the text, you can change this font color. Okay, you just go to this character, click, and because since my title is Pinky Eggy, so I want to have the same color. Alright, so next is move the text in between layer 1 and layer 2. So here we have two two layers for the video. So what you need to do is click and drag this text in between first layer and the second layer. Okay, now you can see that the text is placing at the bottom of the first layer. So then the next step is edit the text and masking area. So the step is to move header at point the text starts. Okay, and then you have to increase value in the mask feather. So what means by this step is, so you have to move the text. Right now you can see that when I move my header, okay, and now you can see that the text is start to appear on your stage. Okay, and then the next step here is to increase value in the mask feather. Okay, what means by increase value in the mask feather? If I zoom in to this video, okay, and then before that you need to expand your first layer. Right, so now when you position your header where the text starts, okay, here, so if you expand, so if you zoom in, alright, this is how it looks like. So actually you have to edit, okay, you need to make some final adjustment to the mask. And before that you have to increase value in the mask feather. So where you can find mask feather, it is in the mask 1. Okay, go to the mask 1 and then you can see the mask feather. So click on the mask feather and drag to the right. Okay, can you see what happened when I increase the mask feather? So mask feather actually giving you some smooth feather on these edges. Okay, okay, give me a second because my computer is running low with the battery. Right, so back to here. you have to make adjustment, and before you make the adjustment, add some value to the mask feather. Okay, and then you have to move frame by frame to check. Right, so now when I move this timeline to the right, okay, this is where you need to do some adjustment, okay, to this masking area. Okay, if you can't see this line, actually you can change. Okay, you can change the color so that it will help you to, you know, make it more visible. Right. Okay, then move again to the right. Okay, and then adjust your masking. Okay, so I think this looks fine. Right, so we have done all the steps in creating a masking techniques, okay, for your text animation. So if I make this fit, right, and then in this right panel, you can go to the preview. Okay, click and make sure that your timeline is on the first frame, and when you play, okay, so that is the final output. And then if you notice, I have another text over here. So how to add that text is, okay, again click on this text tool, but before that make sure your header is starting from the first. Okay, so here I want to have the text the okay, Humpty Dumpty present, and you can adjust the paragraph, okay, so that everything looks more nicely. Okay, and I want to place this text somewhere here, Humpty Dumpty production. Okay, go back to the character and then adjust the text so that it fits in the video. Okay, I want to change the color to black. Right, so here for this text, I want to add some animation. So at first, for the opacity, I want to set 0 because I don't want this text to appear. But then when you know, the times is when you play a few seconds on the video, it will start to appear, okay, on this frame, and I will add back the opacity from 0. to 100. Okay, and this text will appear, and when you see the hands, okay, start to grab the eggs. This is where I want to make this text invisible again. So I'll change back my opacity to 0. Okay, and then after that you can see the title. Okay, back to the preview. So when you play again, you see the first text, and when the hands start to grab the egg, you can see the masking text. Right, so that's all for masking techniques in Adobe After Effects.